Welcome to Epicor Eclipse ERP End of Month Reports 2 series. This presentation covers the Inventory Gross Margin Return on Investment by Cell Group report. And this report is used to determine the sales performance of items that are all grouped under the same set of pricing rules, cell groups in this case. Now, for review, customers are organized into price classes, products are organized into cell groups, among other things. The cross point between the two determines the pricing formula that's going to be used by the system to come up with the sell price and the sales order. And this will only change if there's a contract in place that may change that particular item, or your sales force overrides the suggested price. Ordinarily, the cell groups are going to be organized around a catalog commodity code in trade service or IDW, or by vendor brands, but you can really create any type of selling groups system that you want. You should probably try and come up with a schema that's consistent so it's easier to manage. When coming up with pricing matrices, and cell groups are going to be connected with pricing matrices, keep it simple. Stupid is the rule. When we started with Eclipse in 2005, we used the trade service 4-digit commodity code grouping, which spread across several vendors but grouped like products. And it was a disaster because of pricing between vendors and special kickbacks and market forces and that type of thing. Currently, we only use about 12 to 15 cell groups, which is probably a little bit lean. We probably could do with a little bit more sophistication. But the simpler you can make your pricing matrices and your dependent cell groups and your price classes, the better off you will be. As we said, you can set up a cell group schema in a variety of ways, making it as insanely complicated as possible and making your life hell, or as simple as possible, and it's up to your particular preference and needs. And as I said, in our case, we're currently using just 12 groupings, and although if you'll take a look at these examples here, it may look a bit like gibberish. In our particular system, how this reads is we have 4 customer pricing classes. For each pricing class, the gross margin that the matrix calculation should come up with are as such. So price class small, medium, large, and super large. For the particular cell group that we have selected here, produces a gross margin of 36%, 32%, 29%, 25%. And that's how that's read. But as I said, this is just how our system is set. I have no idea how yours is set, because you could have it all kinds of different things, including price breaks and seasonal pricing and discounting and all kinds of stuff. So this is just a simplified example. So now, after that quick review of cell groups and the pricing matrix, on to running our sample reports. So now we're going to do a summary report. Here's our simple parameters on this specific cell group, and we want to run it on the cost of goods sold, which the actual costs, and not our calculated commissions cost type thing. And in our particular case, since in my company we just have 12 price groupings, it's very, very loose, a summary report wouldn't be very useful for us. Now, if you have a much more granular cell group and pricing matrix that's maybe down to vendor particular lines or groupings of like parts, then the summary report might make more sense for you. Out of the big book of Eclipse and a few other sources, they say for the distribution industry, such as the fields we're in, ideally a part should have 4 to 6 inventory turns a year and a Gmroi of above 120. So we can see in our examples here that we've got a pretty good setup, because we're doing turns of 4.08, which, okay, a little low, but within the parameters, and a Gmroi of 214. So this is good. Here's an example report for the detail And as I said, in our particular case, detail report would work out much better for us and probably more useful for you as well. Same rules apply for inventory turns in Gmroi, but since this is detail and we're down to on the part level, now we can start identifying slow-moving parts and decide on whether or not we want to no longer stock it or reduce the quantities on hand, or perhaps increase if it's really hot, and do some tweaks to our inventory to make it more efficient. And this completes our presentation. This has been Doug Fashing. Thank you again for your attention.